Hey, what's going on, guys? Rygo here from Kite. So I'm just hanging out in my office with my bud Bandito here. So we've had a lot of great requests the last few weeks for like twin tip comparisons and kite comparisons. We've had a few good ones come in now for the Nash kites. And I've been trying to sneak out and log some hours on them, but it's starting to get pretty cold here in Michigan. So I figured, why not book a trip down to Florida for the weekend and visit a good friend of mine, and then try to get some shots for you guys and just put some more hours in on some of the Nash kites like the Dash and the Pivot here. So just in order to get ahead, I think the game plan here will be to deviate and try a few different videos. So we're going to try a few new concepts and just let me know what you think. This week, I think what we'll do is short leashes versus long leashes. So let's get to it. So like I said, this week I'm going to try to do something a little bit different. You know, we've been getting out there and testing the kites and logging some hours. Actually, last week, Jake Mitchell and I tried to sneak out of the shop and put some time in on the Dash, but it was just too cold, too gusty, and not really a great day to get a good comparison on this kite. So considering it's getting so cold here, I figured, hey, why not head down to Florida and link up with my good buddy Steve Lee. So we're going to head down to Orlando for the next week and just put some time in on the Nash Dash and the Nash Pivot, and hopefully just enjoy some of that warmer weather and get some footage for you guys. In the meantime, I do need to keep ahead on these videos, so rather than just doing the kite versus kite series, we're going to explore some other things. And let me know what you think of these so we can kind of get this dialed in and make sure you guys are getting what you want. But one common question that I get on the phones here often is, you know, hey, I just got my kite and I noticed that it came with a short leash. What's going on with that? So I thought I would break this down for you guys, you know, short leashes versus the long leashes. So just to give you a brief history lesson here, kiteboarding really hasn't been around, you know, as long as a lot of other adventure sports. So our culture's still developing, our gear is still developing. You know, in the early days, they were borrowing from a lot of other sports like wakeboarding and windsurfing and traditional surfing. But back to the point here is our sport, it's still young and it's still developing. And, you know, one of the weird little changes that came about right around 2015, 2016 is that the brands realized that not really everybody needs a long leash, you know, back to having borrowed from other sports. So a lot of elements of kiteboarding incorporate elements of wakeboarding. And what it comes down to is for those riders who like to mimic the wake style side, you need a longer leash. And the other reason being is when you're trying tricks, you know, whether you want to pass the bar behind your back or land blind or whatever, you're going to need that extra leash to do those rotations. Whereas your average rider really doesn't need that. So, you know, maybe you picked up gear in 2010 and you got a longer leash like this one. You know, and then sometime around like 2017 or something like that, you ordered another kit and you ended up with a leash like this. So significantly shorter. I mean, not a lot going on here. So what are the benefits of going with a shorter leash like this? Well, provided that you're not into unhooking, you know, for that hooked-in big air rider or the hooked-in wave rider, or pretty much just, you know, your average free rider, just less materials to deal with. You know, it's not dragging behind you in the water. You don't have to worry about, you know, the weight. Not that it's much weight, but when you're packing your bag, you know, this is going to hold, you know, less water weight when you're traveling, things like that. But really, it just comes down to getting rid of something that you didn't need. So that's why you're seeing this trend, you know, and if you are into wake style or unhooking, the newer leashes are great. So what are the advantages of the more modern, you know, handle pass leashes as they're calling them now? Well, one of the major differences is that they now come with a coating. So this is kind of nice whether the kite wraps around your chest or if it wraps around your hand. You know, some of the earlier leashes actually could hurt you, and I think I've heard of instances of people's fingers getting bound up in them pretty bad. You know, and this just allows it to slip off easier, so a little more protection there. You know, they come with more colors. Not a lot's really changed in that regard. So, you know, for those of you that do still like to unhook, you'll just want to make sure to get yourself a handle pass leash. There's a number of them out there. Just pick your favorite color. A lot of options. So is there any real difference with going with a short leash or a long leash? Well, if you unhook, yeah, absolutely. You want to go with a handle pass leash. But for the rest of you out there, freestyler, big air guy, you know, whatever it is, yeah, you really don't need it. So, you know, the leash that comes with your bar is going to be great for you. You're going to want to stick with that. No need to upgrade to a, you know, $60 handle pass leash. So with all that said, I hope you guys found this helpful. Like I said, I'm trying something a little different here, just breaking away from the kites for a moment. So let me know your thoughts on it. Let me know if you like the direction, and you know, give me some suggestions. What are some of the other topics you might want to see that expand the realm of just kites and boards? What kind of topics can we cover, and what kind of comparisons can we do? So if you found this helpful, please give the video a thumbs up, and as always, subscribe. And until next time, this has been Rago, and I'll see you next Wednesday.